world. You look at some places, you take a look at California. Weekend, the last thing they're going to be able to do is supply electric at numbers. Nobody's ever explained to me why it's so much electricity, why you need so much, nor did I care that much, to be honest with you. All I know is you need more than double what we produce right now. Think of it. So we produce tremendous amounts of electricity for every business, and this industry needs more than double that amount. So we're letting you build your own with the Trump administration's Ratepayer Protection Plan. The American innovators and consumers thrive to win together because we're insisting that AI data centers and big tech companies pay their own way, and that's what they're doing, and they're happy to do it because this way they're going to be able to function and function brilliantly. They're going to have a lot of electricity left over, and they'll put that into the grid, so we'll actually end up with more electricity. The rates are going to go down. As president, I've always said that America's goal must be to dominate the future, and that includes being the _1 superpower in artificial intelligence, so important. And this is, I think, bigger than frankly, I think it's bigger than the Internet. It's bigger than anything anyone's seen thus far. Maybe someday there'll be something bigger than this, probably will. But I think up until this point, AI is probably the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. And whoever wins that race is probably going to win, period. And again, we're leading China, and we want to keep it that way. President Xi's coming over on September 24th, and we talked about it when I was over in Beijing, and we'll be talking about it again. But he was very impressed with the job we've done because ordinarily, they don't have any problem with electric. They build a lot of electric. They don't do environmental impact statements. They just say, you want electric, we'll build it. They don't use too many windmills. They make the windmills, but they don't use them. They do it the old-fashioned way in many ways. The United States never settles for second, and we don't under this administration. I can tell you that. You see that because we have the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. We live by the motto, America First. That's what's made us very strong, and we're leading China and all other countries by a lot in AI and just about every other category, including crypto. We want to stay in front in crypto. They'd love to take that over. So many other things they'd like to take over. They're highly competitive, if you haven't noticed. But thanks in part to this incredible technology boom, investments are pouring into the United States from all over the world. $19.2 trillion, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. So think of it, $19.2 trillion in 12 months, okay? And the previous administration had less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I would say that's an improvement. Do I get credit for it? No. Get no credit. Think of that. It's a 19.2 in 12 months versus less than 1 in 4 years. It's hard to believe, right? But that's the way it is. No credit, but we just keep chugging along. But as I say, I get no credit for anything, and then I look around the Oval Office. I said, oh, but we're in the Oval Office. So I guess we do get credit. But less than 2 years ago, our country was dead. And I've had this said by so many leaders. They use the expression a little bit different sometimes, said differently, but meaning the same thing. They say, sir, less than 2 years ago, your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we are the hottest in the world. At the same time, we know that the data centers and AI are dramatically increasing the demand for electricity. It's only fair that the cost of building the new infrastructure required to meet this demand should be borne by the corporations themselves, not by the American consumers and the American patriots, American citizens. And I think everybody agrees to it. And actually, they really don't have a choice because there's no way of producing that kind of electricity, the kind you need, and they want to do it themselves. And honestly, they're coming up with some plans that are genius, just like they are. That's why earlier this year I introduced the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. Under this groundbreaking plan, America's largest tech companies have formally committed to fund or build all energy infrastructure required to meet the demand they are placing on the grid. So they're going to be funding all of those electric needs, and we're giving them the right to build their own power plants. Lee Zeldin is here. He's phenomenal, and he's getting it done quickly. And thank you. Stand up. Stand up. He is phenomenal. He's incredible. He's an MVP candidate, I will tell you. He is doing things at levels, and by the way, everything perfectly. He's totally into the environment, but he's getting things done in 2, 3, 4 weeks that used to take years and years. And people are getting their approvals, and they're building buildings. We're building more buildings now, plants, and all sorts of manufacturing capability that we've never done anywhere near it many, many times. And companies are pouring in. Toyota, the other day, as you know, announced that they're moving into our country from Mexico. They're going to be, I think, closing up a lot of their operation, maybe all of it in Mexico. They're moving to this country. We have we have more car plants being built now in the United States than at any time in history. And, you know, we went years before me. We went many years with no car plant being built. I mean, they wouldn't even think about building in this country. Now, with a hot, same thing with chips. We'll have about 50% by the time this term is over. We're going to have probably 50% of the chip market. A year ago, when we began, we had no chip market. We had virtually none other than Intel. We had Intel. And we made a purchase of 10% of Intel. We got it for the right price. And we made approximately $72 billion on that deal. So it was good. Do I get credit for that one? No. I get no credit. None. But we did that, and we made a lot of great deals, I'll tell you. And we keep it going, too. But Intel's been fantastic, one of the hottest companies anywhere in the country. And when we met them, they were really having very big difficulty. We worked with them. But the stock price has gone up many times. I think it's maybe the hottest or one of the hottest anywhere in the world. So that was an honor to do it. I love looking good. But we made a lot of money. We made, I guess, over $72 billion on that profit. They've also agreed to invest heavily in local communities where data centers are built, supporting job training and local services. They're really spending a tremendous amount of money. In other words, the governors in the room, you have great governors in this room, and these companies are spending tremendous amounts of money on the communities, the local communities. So I think it's important that we tell the local communities that, because other nations are trying to get us to slow down, and they're spending a lot of money on propaganda, on press, PR, trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all negative stuff. You have communities that really want the data centers. And frankly, those are the smart communities, because it means tremendous numbers of jobs, very little actual disruption. And the ones that don't want it, you know, the happiest people in the world are foreign countries, number one, and number two, other communities within our country, because they're begging for them to be there. And some of them are great communities, very, very forward-looking communities, very smart communities. Since I introduced this plan just a few months ago, more than 220 utilities, tech companies, state governments, and other partners have signed our ratepayer protection pledge. Electricity rates for 80% of the power distributed in America are now being kept in check by the plan. We have kept rates down, way down. You know, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of America from the Biden administration. And as you know, last week it was announced that inflation is way down. It's down more than it's been in over 6 years. And other things are happening that are so fantastic. And when all these buildings, plants, factories that we're talking about start opening up, all I know is I'd like to be the next president, because I'm going to make somebody look very good. They're going to sit there and all this stuff is going to be opening, and they're going to be saying what a genius they are. That happened with Biden. I got cuts in medicine prices that statutorily took 2 or 3 years. And I got these tremendous cuts, and then they sat there and said, oh, yeah. They didn't even know where they came from. But I got them, and this is going to be a much bigger example. You have all these plants that are going to be opening up over the next 2 years, sooner, but 2 years. And somebody's going to look very, very smart, and I hope you remember me, because what we've done is something that nobody thought was possible. For example, Southern companies, Georgia Power has frozen base rates for households until 2029. Is anybody here from Georgia Power? There's a certain governor who's here. A certain governor who's here. Congratulations. Good job. That's a great job. I've heard about it. Congratulations to both, and it's fantastic. And Georgia, the revenue from Google's data center construction is allowing them to eliminate property taxes entirely. And that's what you call using it to your advantage. The numbers are so incredible. Nobody's ever seen. You know, all my life, the biggest building in the whole world was the Pentagon. And you can fit 25 Pentagons into some of these buildings, 25. And if you happen to be a community, and there's very little disruption. They're just large. They go on for miles. And frankly, if you like certain types of things, they're incredible to look at, to see that we could do something like this. But they also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. And when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that, revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? That's not bad, right? So thank you very much. Great job. That's a great job. And you probably had some negative stuff, a little heat. Oh, we don't want a data center. Usually those are the people that actually want them and that like you not to build them. Because you know what? If it doesn't go to you and if it doesn't go to Georgia, as an example, it's going to go someplace else. And those people are very happy to get them, too, the smart people. American Electric Power now projects that their customers will enjoy as much as $16 billion in cost offsets for consumers thanks to their data center contracts. $16 billion. So think of that. That's cost offsets. In Iowa, Alliant Energy data center deals. Where are you, Alliant? Alliant, where are you? Are you here? Thank you. Data center deals are allowing them to freeze electric rates for consumers for at least 5 years. So your rates are going to stay the same or lower. In Louisiana, there's a guy looks like he's from Louisiana to me. Public school teachers in so think of that, Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in less than half. That's big stuff, Mr. Governor, right? You didn't have any doubt about it. Here's a governor doing a great job. We have some really great governors in this room. With the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, we're creating a fair deal for everybody. This is how we'll grow our economy, lower the cost of living, protect American consumers, and lead the world in AI and high tech, all at the same time. We want to lead the world. And it is said, if you come in second, you're going to be second overall, because there's never been anything big like this. There's never been any, like in Georgia, there's no other thing you can do to create numbers like you've created, Brian. Both of you, there's no other thing. You can do 100 different deals, 100. It is nothing close to what you've been able to do. And why? They put a big, gorgeous new plant in a certain location. Big deal. It's so incredibly positive. Unfortunately, there are some who would like to lead us down the opposite path. And I call them the radical left communists. They call them socialists, but these people are communists, actually more. I think it's a much more accurate term. Want to shut down all new development, kill our most successful industries, destroy hundreds of thousands of jobs, and surrender the AI race to China. And China, look, you know, I'm not blaming them. I have a lot of respect for them. I have a lot of respect for President Xi, but they represent China. We represent the United States of America. And they lobby against these things, and they spend money on it, and they want communities to reject them as much as possible because they'd like to be leading the race. But we're leading the race, and unless we're very foolish and, frankly, very stupid, we'll continue to lead the race. We have a nice lead. A lot of people didn't expect that was possible. Perhaps even worse, the radical left's plans would not lower your electricity bills, but they would actually increase them very substantially because you wouldn't have all of this money pouring in. You'd have American energy would be far more expensive, and regulating oil, natural gas, and clean, beautiful coal, it would be the end of all of it. It would be the end of all of it. It would be the end of, frankly, it would be the end of great success for our country, because we've never had anything like what's happening right now. I call them the Democrats because their policies are so bad. Look, think of it. No men. We want no men in women's sports. Transgender, they want transgender for everybody. I call it transgender mutilization of your children for everybody. Open borders where the world can pour in, where prisons from all over the world are released into our country. And we've done a hell of a job in getting them out. Murderers, 11,888 murderers let into our country under the previous administration. We've gotten a lot of them out. We're getting the rest of them out fast. But the Democrats in Congress want less energy, not more. And if given the chance, they'd send your prices soaring and inflation skyrocketing, which is exactly what would happen if you had somebody else sitting in the position that I am right now. And just like we did with the Green New scam, where we were scammed, the whole country was, I wasn't scammed. I got it right from the beginning. I got it from the first minute when I heard this crap, you know. They were saying wind was so wonderful, except you couldn't watch your television. They wanted to watch the debate. Donald Trump against Sleepy Joe Biden. Nobody could watch it because the wind wasn't blowing. Remember that? Darling would like to watch the debate tonight. I'm sorry, the wind isn't blowing. No, that's one of the great scams of all time. But, you know, if you dislike another country, let them keep building windmills. They are going down. People are finally figuring it out. But we're not going to let it happen to this country. We're going to use the kind of things that work, and they're working better than anybody ever thought possible. So experts have observed that the amount of energy a society produces is the single greatest indicator of its advancement as a civilization, its success as a country. Think of it when you think the amount of energy produced, Lee. So when you give those fast approvals, that's a positive thing. I want you to feel good. Yet instead of offering a positive version and vision for carrying American civilization to new heights, the radical left only wants to limit our energy consumption and rein in our American dreams. We have the American dream. Until we came along, we had a great first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And this economy will blow it away. We're doing very well against the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're doing extremely well. They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. They need more of the same. They're not ready yet. They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. If we did all this that I'm talking about your data centers, isn't that important? When they start blowing away communities, one by one. We cannot let them ever even think about having a nuclear weapon, and that's exactly what's happening. They'll never have a nuclear weapon. And by the way, this should have been done by they've been saying 47 years now for about 3 years, but this should have been done for 50 years by other American presidents or other countries. Didn't have to be us, but it seems to, if we don't do it, nobody else is. But I will, and nobody else has the capability to do it either. We built, in my first term, the greatest military anywhere in the world, and we're using it a little more than I thought, but that's all right. We had Venezuela, that Chris is doing a fantastic job, and we've paid for the cost of that war many times over. We're taking millions and millions of barrels of oil, and it's going to Houston and Louisiana. You know that. You see those ships lined up. And again, we paid for that many, many times over, and we have a great relationship with Venezuela. And the people are happy in Venezuela right now. They can't believe what's happened. We have the biggest companies, the biggest oil companies in the world going in and doing business like nobody ever thought possible. And we're taking some, we should, and they're taking some. And, you know, it's very interesting that they're making more money. Chris was showing me some numbers. They're making more money, Venezuela now, than they've ever made before. And we're making a lot, too. And I think we're entitled to that. So it was really something. We took that. It was a one-day war. It took one day. People said, oh, we're going to be tied up there forever. And here, we were in Vietnam for 20 years, lost thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives, but thousands and thousands of lives. We were in Afghanistan for years. We were in all these wars that you heard about for years and years. We were, I called them never-ending wars. Well, we're in for 4 months, and I had a very sad day yesterday. I went to Dover, 4 great American patriots killed. That's 18 in 2 wars, and 1 is too many, but it's 18, whereas in Vietnam we lost 200,000. We lost thousands and thousands in Afghanistan. We lost thousands in every war, the Korean War, thousands, and these wars all lasted for years. And we want to get it over with, and we want to do it right, but we have to do what we came to do, and that's we can't let these people, very violent people, we can't let them have what they want, which is nuclear weapons. It came from all of this success, came from innovation and ambition and drive. In this country, we build the future fearlessly and confidently so that America always will be strong, prosperous, and dominant. And the other thing we're going to add to that, we want to be free, and we're going to continue to be free as long as we're smart. And we can't be hoodwinked. We can't be taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home, you're going to get free rent, everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything is going to end up in squalor, destruction, and death, and also death for our country. So we have to stop the threat of the communist rhetoric that you're hearing right now, because these people, they don't act. I'm very happy a poll came out. It said they're highly educated, but doing very poorly. In other words, they're losers. They went to school, they got a good education, now they don't know what they're doing, so what they do is they complain about people like yourselves that have done so well. But we can't let the communist ideology we don't want to even think about it for this country. It would be terrible. So we're joined today by some of the people helping to do all of the things that I just talked about, putting the Ratepayer Protection Pledge into action. And here with us are Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, who's an outstanding person. Doug Burgum told me about Chris. I didn't know Chris. I wanted Doug to head up energy, and Doug said, no, there's one man that's better. Who? Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is that? Turned out to be this guy right over here. And he's turned out to be incredible, really incredible. He's running Venezuela. He's running a lot of, more than anybody has ever run before, I think we can say, Chris, right? He's doing a great job, so we appreciate it. Thank you. A friend of mine, the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, popular guy, really smart, street smart and book smart, which is a rare combination, by the way. We have the governor of Nebraska, Jim Pillen, who's done a fantastic job. He's where's Jim? Is there any someplace? Where are you? Oh, hello, Jim. You're looking good. You don't change much? Thank you. You don't change much. How's Nebraska doing? Good? Do they still like Trump in Nebraska? I think so. Huh? We had a very good night 2 nights ago in a place called Arizona. We're 14 out of 14, and we're doing that kind of numbers in Nebraska. I think we're doing those numbers everywhere, and it's all based on common sense. We're conservative, we're this, we're that, whatever you are. The most important thing is we're people of common sense. We want to have strong borders. We want to have good education. We want to have low taxes. We want to have a great military. We're people of common sense, and if you do that, you'll be very successful at politics. Governor of Idaho, Brad Little, thank you very much, Brad. Governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, thank you, Brian. Great honor. Entergy CEO, Drew Marsh. Drew, thank you very much, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Great job you're doing. Southern Company CEO, Chris Womack. Chris, hi, there he is again. Chris. I didn't know that was your name. I just saw you. I said, that's a smart guy, because you did that big job making people in Georgia rich, right? That's Meta President Dina Powell, who's been my friend. She was with me for 4 years in the White House, and I called up Mark. I said, you hired the right person. You got the right person. So great, Dina. We're proud of you. Columbia County Commission Chairman Doug Duncan. Doug, thank you, Doug. Congratulations. Job well done. And Sheldon Jones of Louisiana's Richland Parish School District. And thank you very much. Good job. You know him, don't you? Huh? Thank you. I heard you're doing fantastically well. And again, Lee Zeldin, who's been so outstanding. So, thank you. So I want to I just want to leave you by saying that it's an honor to be here. I'm going over now to talk about various and sundry subjects. One is the Iran war, where, again, we're doing very well, very, very well. I would say better than anybody expected could be done. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force, all of their radar, most of their capability in terms of manufacturing. Their drones are down 84%. Their missiles are down 91%. And I had a newspaper say, they're in stronger position today than they were 4 months ago. No, that's not the truth. That's not right. I can't believe they're even allowed to say it. New York Times said, they're in stronger position today. They have no military. They have no Navy. They had 159 ships. Everyone's at the bottom of the sea. They had 212 airplanes. Everyone is gone. They have no radar. They have no anti-aircraft. They have no nothing other than they're mean and they're smart and they still have some capability. But 4 months ago, trust me, they were much, much stronger, okay? I want to give you the non-fake news. But we're going to do that, and we're going to then have the Dodgers, the World Championship Dodgers are going to be over at the White House. They're going to be waiting. And I'll meet a man who's just about the best pitcher in baseball and just about the best hitter in baseball and just about the best fielder in the outfield in baseball. And needless to say, I guess he had a game where he pitched a almost perfect game, and he had 2 or 3 home runs in that game, and they said it was probably, I said, you know, never seen that. Only Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher, and he was a great hitter. But even the Babe didn't throw a one-hitter and hit 3 home runs, which would make it, I would imagine, about the greatest game ever played. So we're going to meet him and all of the people of the Dodgers. They won the World Championship, and we see the champions, the Super Bowl champions, and the baseball and basketball, all of them. They like to come over to the White House. We're going to have a little thing in a few minutes. But I want to just thank everybody, and we're really talking about the ratepayer protection plan. To me is very important because you have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection. But you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes, and you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it. So these are the smartest people. Most of you in this room, we have a couple probably on the other side of things. They disagree, but I don't know how they can disagree. Your community and your state's going to become rich, and there's very little disruption. And again, if you don't take all that money, somebody else is going to take it. You might as well do it yourself. So it's an honor to be with you, and maybe I'll let Chris and Lee and the group and Jeff and Brian, everybody, just take over, have a good free-for-all, and figure it out. And if you have any problems, I'll come right back and I'll straighten those problems out, okay? Thank you. Great job. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thanks to the President for his address. Look, Americans are united in their desire to supercharge our economy, to increase our national security by keeping our lead in artificial intelligence over China. These are critical for our economy. They're critical for our national security. Americans are also united in their frustration over the ruinous nearly 30% price rise in electricity across the country during the Biden administration, and needless rises in our electricity prices. The Trump administration Ratepayer Protection Pledge addresses these issues and allows Americans to have it all. This allows America to maintain our lead in artificial intelligence by driving rapid investment in our country, rapid investment in new power infrastructure, and on favorable terms with the developers of data centers that have stopped the rises of electricity prices where these investments have been made. Sadly, we see this issue being politicized now. We see Democrats in New York saying we're going to ban the development of data centers, and they're doing this because the green energy mandates they pushed at the national level under Biden and at the state level, that's what drives up electricity prices, and they want to blame something else for that. Of course, they're going to double down on stupid and end out with even greater increases in electricity. The states, Maine is one of the states with zero data centers, zero, has very high electricity prices. The states that have avoided the development of new power infrastructure, those are the states with the fastest rises in prices. The governors on this stage, and you're going to hear briefly from all of them, all of the governors on this stage have electricity prices in their states meaningfully below the national average. And they've done it by allowing investment and progress in their states. They've allowed data centers to be built, and then the power production that comes with them. This has protected their ratepayers and delivered jobs and opportunity and relief from taxes. That's a clear pathway forward. Now we'll turn it over to Governor Jeff Landry from Louisiana.
Thank you, Chris. I guess the pressure's off now, right? Well, look, I think the president does deserve a lot of credit. I can tell you, between the president and Chris and the entire cabinet, under their leadership, they have impacted so many lives in Louisiana. People like Eric and Madeline Carter, who are here today, and because of the policies that y'all have laid out, that we've accepted, they have seen opportunities they never dreamed would have existed in Louisiana. People like Sheldon Jones, the superintendent of Richland Parish, who his teachers went from the lowest paid teachers in Louisiana to the highest paid teachers in Louisiana. Their lives have been completely transformed. But I think it's important for Americans to imagine this. Imagine if just for 24 hours, every data center in the United States went dark. This press conference would not be able to be live streamed. Businesses would no longer be able to access payroll or emails or customer records. Healthcare would come to a grinding halt. Millions of Americans would quickly realize that the digital tools they depend on every day are extremely important to them. And that's why data centers are so important. They are instruments that will shape the future and determine our national security. And just as the president spoke about it, just as America once led the space race, we now face a new race. This one, though, is going to be defined by technology and artificial intelligence. And who wins? Who wins will absolutely control the levers of global power. But just as the space race demanded courage and vision, so does this one. But winning, as the president said, cannot come at the cost of American families. And his Ratepayer Protection Pledge demands that technology companies cover costs of power generation infrastructure rather than shifting them to you, to the citizens out there. And the president's instructions are simple. Companies must build, bring, or buy the generation they need, negotiate separate rate structures, and fully fund the grid upgrades to support their operation. In Louisiana, we didn't just follow the president's model. We pioneered it. Our first-of-a-kind partnership with Meta should be a template, not an exception. Today, Meta, not our ratepayers, fund all new generation transmission upgrades and infrastructure tied to this historic investment. Our deal, as the president said earlier, he recognized it, is going to save Louisiana ratepayers $2.6 billion over that deal. That strengthens our grid reliability and reduces our resiliency costs. And if you live along the Gulf Coast, resiliency is extremely important. But more importantly, there's a real local impact. For Richland Parish, the change has been transformational. As I said earlier, teachers went from the lowest paid to the highest paid. And since 2020, Richland Parish's average wage has grown 185%. No. That's how much the taxes have grown. In Richland, the average wage has grown nearly 30%. So think about getting a 30% pay raise. Think about what that would mean to American families. That's how you address affordability. That's how Louisiana families are winning. And that's what's happening when innovation meets opportunities. In Louisiana, we've also streamlined our permitting process so that projects like this can be permitted in 8 months. That matches the president's speed to power vision for America's energy sector. I can tell you that Meta's partnership with us is a national standard. And the president's agenda drives America to expand domestic energy production as we accelerate AI deployment. And we're setting a national standard. You know, I believe, and I would say this, I think the president believes this as well, this is America's moment. This is a moment where we get to protect our people, empower our communities, and unleash unprecedented economic opportunity. And it's a moment to prove that when innovation meets responsibility, America doesn't fear tomorrow. That's what the groups out there want us to do. We used to be a nation that never feared, and we should not fear tomorrow. We should rise to the occasion and secure for the next generation the next great American era. And so, you know, for me, this is more than just progress for Louisiana. What the president has laid out is actually a blueprint for every corner of America. And these governors will explain that to you as well. When we choose to protect families, invest in our communities, and harness innovation for the common good, we ignite hope for from the smallest town to the largest city in America. And really, the president is showing us that responsible growth is the path to affordability. And we determine, Americans will determine who wins this race. Is it going to be American exceptionalism, or is it going to be China? Personally, I believe in America. And so this is our moment to move and not to fear. And in Louisiana, we are not fearing this build-out. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for the inspiring remarks, Governor, and a fulsome 2 minutes as well.
I practiced that in Congress.
And now turn it over to Entergy CEO Drew Marsh, who's been aggressively developing affordable, reliable power. Drew?
Well, thank you, Secretary Wright. And I want to say thank you to the President and the administration and yourself for continued focus on customers and communities through the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. I also want to thank the governors in our 4 states, and including, starting with Governor Landry, who we proudly serve, our retail regulators, and of course our data center customers, Meta and Google was mentioned earlier, and AWS. In Louisiana, we are honored to partner with Governor Landry to win the transformational Meta data center for Richland Parish. From the beginning, his focus on benefiting customers and communities while also positioning the state for growth and prosperity and opportunity has been remarkable. This effort that we've undertaken in Louisiana is a great example of state working together to bring business and communities together to protect existing customers and to move with speed to win the AI race. Our part at Entergy was driven by our customer focus and, of course, our vertical integration, which provided a one-stop shop for innovative solutions for Meta. Our Fair Share Plus pledge is modeled after the Ratepayer Protection Pledge that the administration put in place, and it will deliver approximately $7 billion of benefits to customers over the next 2 decades. In Louisiana, Fair Share Plus includes everything that Governor Landry was talking about and that I'm sure that Superintendent Jones will talk about, and Dina will talk about, jobs, community benefits, workforce development. There are $140 million of energy efficiency benefits and $120 million of benefits for vulnerable customers included in that transaction. And of course, all the modern, resilient, efficient infrastructure that is being built to support Meta also supports the rest of the existing customers on the grid. And Fair Share Plus pledge also means that Meta covers its entire incremental costs during the contract, and it means it covers fixed costs, in part, their fair fixed costs that other customers are paying today, things like storm costs and resilience investment and compliance costs. That's important. Those costs total up, and the President mentioned it, $2.65 billion over the life of the contract, and that's in addition to the community benefits that we were talking about. The White House's Ratepayer Protection Pledge, Governor Landry's recent executive order, and our Fair Share Plus pledge are all aligned to ensure that we grow and support this transformational investment opportunity, and we do it in a way that creates benefits for all customers. That's how we win the AI race and responsibly serve all of our customers at the same time. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thanks so much, Drew. Now we'll turn it over to Meta President Dina Powell, who has a lot of fans in northern Louisiana where the economic opportunities have been transformed.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary. It is such a thank you. It's a privilege to be here with you. It was a privilege to be with you and President Trump when we signed the Ratepayer Protection Pledge at the White House not too long ago. It is also really a privilege to be at EPA with Administrator Lee Zeldin, who really is an incredible person to work with. Thank you so much, Mr. Administrator. As the Secretary said, we could not be more proud of our investment in Richland Parish and really throughout Louisiana. Without Governor Landry's leadership, we would not have been able to make the investments that we have made, and frankly, to do it in a way that had in mind the citizens and the community. I think there is a new model, and the new model is for companies like ours to listen very humbly to the community and to really ask what the needs are. We could not be more proud that the superintendent of Richland Parish called us and said that because of the tax revenue surplus, every teacher in Richland Parish is getting an up to $50,000 bonus. One of those very special teachers is here. Thomasina Minor, would you please stand up? We are so honored. We also are very proud of the investment that we're making directly to businesses. To date, we have had $1.6 billion in contracts that have gone straight to businesses in Richland Parish, and particularly small business owners. It's been really fun to meet so many of those business owners who have doubled their business, increased the jobs in their businesses, and have really been thriving in the community. We also are working with Louisiana Delta Community College. As we all know, there are so many open jobs, welders, electricians, fiber technicians, and those community colleges and trade schools are the heart and soul of the training that's really fueling these jobs. It is actually one of the partners in something that we're extremely proud of at Meta, America's Workforce Academy. This new program is actually a fast-track program where all of the training is paid for, and you have a guaranteed job at a Meta infrastructure site at the end of it. What has been amazing is to see who is applying for those jobs. People who live paycheck to paycheck can't take 5 or 6 weeks off and pay for training. And so we have just been so heartened. 41,000 Americans have already applied, and we can't wait to scale and grow this program. And I'll just close by saying that we actually called it America's Workforce Academy for a reason, and that is exactly what President Trump just said, that America's values have to win in this race. And just like in World War II, when America came together to build, literally build, the arsenal that defeated tyranny in the world, today, these American heroes on the front line are building the infrastructure that will beat China and that will ensure America is the leader in artificial intelligence. So thank you again, Mr. Secretary.
Thanks so much, Dina. Now we'll go to Richland Parish School District Superintendent Sheldon Jones to tell us the story from the front lines.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you to President Trump and Governor Landry for your leadership of this country and our state. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today on behalf of the school board members, employees, and stakeholders of the Richland Parish School Board. We'd like to congratulate Dina and the team at Meta on expanding its capital investment in our local data center. Since the groundbreaking ceremony in 2024, we have worked collaboratively to build a sustainable, mutually beneficial partnership, one that extends well beyond infrastructure. They've been a true partner. You've heard about the sales tax bonus that teachers like Ms. Franklin had an opportunity to receive, a 400% increase over last year, thanks to the tax revenues generated by Meta and its data center. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that I had an opportunity to sign Ms. Minor's high school diploma in 2013. She graduated from Rayville High School, went off to our local university, and came back to be a teacher at Start Elementary School in Richland Parish. That's what it takes in order to build strong communities in our country. Meta's presence has made a tangible difference in our classrooms, from funding STEM resources and technology, upgrades to workforce development initiatives. This partnership is directly strengthening the educational experience in Richland Parish and making our school district a top spot for educator talent. Meta has shown that corporate investment can go hand in hand with genuine community partnerships and support the people who shape the next generation. When people talk about AI and data centers, it can sound a bit abstract. In Richland Parish, it's not an abstract concept. It's a new roof on a teacher's house. It's a kid who can see a future for themselves right here in our community. Thank you.
Sheldon, thank you for telling that story about the revitalization of the American dream in Louisiana. And God bless you for being here and our teacher as well. It's wonderful. We're going to move to another story in another state. I'll introduce Governor Brian Kemp from Georgia.
Well, thanks, Secretary Wright, Administrator Zeldin. I want to thank you all and President Trump for all you've been doing. It's an honor for me to be here representing the state of Georgia and to be participating and have signed the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. Honored to be with two other great Georgians on the panel, Chris and Doug, and you'll hear from where the rubber meets the road from them, so I won't take any of their thunder, but they've just done an incredible job in our state. I know we have a lot of our other utility partners that are here with us today, our EMCs, electric cities, and others. And we just have such a great story to tell in the state of Georgia. And we just got to keep telling it because it's so hard fighting through, some of the negative press and some of the, anti-AI, anti-data center, really anti-everything groups that are out there, but just to simply tell people the truth. And in Georgia, we're very excited to have the first 2 new nuclear reactors in over 30 years. Georgia Power right now is increasing their capacity over 50%, and they're going to do that in just the next 5 or 6 years to make sure that we're supplying energy for the customers that are coming to our state. But the best thing is our power generation is going up, our rates are going down. And I've got a great chart I'm going to leave you with, Mr. Secretary, but that little blue dot right there in the southeast, somebody sent me this chart yesterday, and it really is talking about the burden on the ratepayer, and it's tracking their household income and then what the burden of utility rates are. And a lot of my fellow governors that are up here with me and some of the other Republicans that are not, they're all in states where they're doing exactly what we're talking about here today. And we've been fortunate to be doing that in Georgia for a while now, either freezing rates, now lowering rates. And I believe we'll be able to keep lowering rates as we continue to have this data center, large load manufacturing plants like the Hyundai Meta plant, the expansion at Kia, a lot of large manufacturers. It's creating great paying jobs with great paying benefits for hardworking Georgians. And that's why we're doing this. And it's also helping our local communities. And I know Doug and Chris will be able to talk about that. So this is a great day. And I agree with Governor Landry. We cannot let China win this race. And that's what some people want. And it's very important for us to continue, especially in my eyes, is to have, a mixed use of energy in our state. We've got nuclear, we've got coal, we've got gas, we've got hydro, and we're going to continue to do everything that we can to supply our customers. And we're very excited to be able to tell the story and honored to be here today. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Governor Kemp. Great leadership. We'll turn it over now to Southern Company CEO Chris Womack.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. EPA Administrator Zeldin, Governor Kemp, and the other governors, it's indeed a pleasure to be here. A lot has been said, but let me say a couple things very quickly. We are thrilled to sign the Ratepayer Protection Pledge because we're in this incredible moment here in this country where we're going through this technology revolution, and it's going to be important about how we manage the power resources. The Ratepayer Protection Pledge aligns with how we work with data centers, how we work with hyperscalers to make sure that we're reinvesting in the grid at the same time, providing rate stability for the families and the businesses and the communities that we are privileged to serve. I mean, as we think about it, we look at, and the president talked about it, President Trump talked about it, with the work that we're doing and the revenue we're getting from the data centers, we're able to freeze rates through the latter part of this decade. And so on a nominal basis, you're seeing actually rates go down. And in Georgia, you're seeing rates go down, bills being lowered by some $1.6 billion. And then if you look across over the next 30 years, and because of a loan we got working with DOE, with Secretary Wright, with Deputy Secretary Danley, we're seeing reductions of some $7 billion in costs to customers as we make additional investments in the grid, as we improve reliability, but we're also improving resiliency while we're also building the new generation that the governor talked about to meet this growing need. The president talked about it, and Governor Kemp also touched on it. We all have got to do a much better job of fighting and telling the truth about data centers and confronting the misinformation that we see all across the marketplace. I see in places, and I grew up in rural South Alabama, and there's a county not far from me, less than 80% of the residents have access to public sewer. There's a big data center project there now that is being opposed. There's a great battle. If this data center shows up there are things like public sewer that could be made available. And so we have to make sure that we talk about data centers are not raising electricity prices because how we're managing this work. More importantly, talking about the positive benefits, the positive attributes that these facilities can bring to communities. If we do this, as we seek to win the AI race, we must also make sure that we protect customers, but also do the right things for our communities. That's the opportunity that's in front of us, and we all working together must seize this wonderful opportunity, must seize this moment that's in front of us, and we look forward to working with each one of you. Thanks, Mr. Secretary.
Thanks so much, Chris. And now we'll go to Columbia County Commissioner Doug Duncan, who can tell us the story on the ground.
Thank you, Secretary Wright. Let me turn that on. A strategic data center partnership between Columbia County, Georgia, Georgia Power, Southern Company, and Google. Together, the three of us have crafted a deal that establishes some of those most restrictive data center covenants in the country. It protects the ratepayers and sets us on a direct path to eliminate the county homestead property tax. I want to thank Georgia Power, Southern Company, they've frozen consumer rates for 3 years, which is just a phenomenal thing. Now, in Columbia County, it's long been our goal to alleviate property taxes. We continue to lower our millage rate, but it's really hard to get there because, the millage rate, that's where your sheriff gets paid and the jails and such. So you have to be able to fund that. Well, the revenue generated by this project is going to be diverted back to the homeowners, and so that's something that we're very proud of. Now, I will say that you couldn't achieve, or no one can achieve, a project of this magnitude without acknowledging all the folks who played a part. And so if you'll bear with me for a second, I just want to thank you, Governor Kemp, because in Georgia it was, I don't say illegal, we could not rebate to homeowners, but we got with the governor, we got with the legislature, Speaker John Burns, Gary Richardson, Senator Lee Anderson, and we worked through and had legislation passed to give us the ability to give that money back. So thank you so very much for that. Also, I have with us today Cheney Eldridge. She's our executive director of our development authority. She actually ran point on the development of this project, found the site, went and actually found the user. And so I just thank you, Cheney. Our County Manager Scott Johnson's here with us today. He was a point person on negotiating. Because remember, we went into this solely for the reason to eliminate homestead property taxes. And we've stayed true through all the negotiations to get at that point. So I do want to call out my fellow commissioners, the Vice Chairman, Allison Couch, Connie Malier, Mike Caraway, and Jim Steed. They literally weathered the storm. Meeting after meeting, disinformation, and we were pounded on, frankly. We stood firm because we knew this was what was best for Columbia County, and frankly, is the American dream. So again, the bottom line for Columbia County is our infrastructure is getting rebuilt, if you think about that. Ratepayers are not paying that. They're protected, and taxpayers are going to receive the value of this back in their property taxes. So I just want to thank President Trump for all he did.
Thanks so much, Doug. Is there any local protest now about eliminating property taxes? Are people upset about their property taxes going away?
Let's say we had a meeting Tuesday night, and there was protest Tuesday night, but it's already done. So no one has. We may have had one person come before us and say that the valuation of his house was too low. So I had to take a step back. And at any rate, no one is protesting not paying taxes.
All right. I'll turn it over to Governor Brad Little from Idaho.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The people in this room are really not the target audience. The American people, it's hard for them to believe that you can have it all, that you can have energy dominance, that innovation can create an atmosphere to where America will not only lead but be incredibly competitive in the world. But a lot of that relies on energy. What's changed is under the Trump administration, in this particular field, 3 things have taken place. The Ratepayer Protection Plan, energy dominance, and the nuclear resurgence. Those 3 hyper-accelerated programs are proven to the American people that you can have it all. We can lead the world in innovation. We can lead the world in affordable, reliable energy in this lifetime and in the next lifetime. But it's going to take a lot of work. In Idaho, we're doing our part. The Idaho National Lab, under Secretary Wright's leadership, we met the goal by the 4th of July, and we exceeded our goal, having 3 different, now 4, soon to be 5, small modular reactors go critical. That would have been impossible in the previous administration. The capital is there, the need is there, the desire there. What we needed was the will and the leadership. This administration has given us the will and the leadership so we can literally have it all. Idaho, right now, we have the most affordable power. Every time I say this with my fellow governors, we get into a little argument. But our power is predicated on falling water. We can't get any more falling water. So obviously, what we need to do in the grid, but more importantly, what we're going to do in nuclear energy, and our partnership with the Department of Energy, with the National Lab, And I think there's 15 companies, Chris, that all want to be in this place. And I really want to applaud the department because they're not picking winners or losers. They say, come out, do your proof of concept, and then we'll see who rises to the top, who's the most efficient, who's the safest, and then we will be able to win this arms race we're having with China on the next generation of nuclear power, and a lot of it's going to take place in Idaho with our partnership with President Trump and Secretary Wright. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Governor. We'll now move to Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen.
Thank you, Secretary Wright, and I just want to say a gigantic thank you to Secretary Zeldin and you, Chris, for saying yes and saying yes to President Trump. A couple comments. There's been a lot said, but I'd like to say a couple things hopefully everybody will remember and think about. In Nebraska, if I can brag about it a little bit, we're home of public power. Home of public power, which means we have the best electrical rates for the 2 million Nebraskans. That's really, really an important piece for all the people in Nebraska. Number two, we're home of Offutt Air Force Base. I've had an extraordinary privilege to spend a lot of time in my 4 years with General Cotton, who headed up strategic nuclear deterrence for our planet. That's happening at Offutt Air Force Base, and now Admiral Corral doing the work. And then number three, we're home of the largest underground, most sustainable aquifer in the Western Hemisphere. Why do I bring those up? I think that because we're home of public power, we've been the leader of data centers that started long before anybody knew what data centers were. And why do you think Nebraska was the home? Use a lot of electricity. We had the best rates in America. So we've been having billions of dollars invested. But the thing that happened in Nebraska, and we talk all the time, it's really important we understand who we are, each state, and that's why governors are empowered to make a lot of things happen. We, the state. So we have not experienced any property tax gains or tax gains because we gave tax credits away for the first 15 years to attract. So we have said we don't need to do that anymore. We have to run government like a business, and we've eliminated and stopped the Imagine Nebraska tax credits because we've been given, I'm a farmer, I'm the first governor from agriculture in Nebraska in 100 years. My view of the world, becoming governor, we've been given the topsoil away. In some circumstances, given the farm away. So we want to play a role. And just, Secretary Wright, I think one time I've heard you speak that America needs to understand the difference between data center transactions and computation intelligence centers, because that is the big issue. Nuclear deterrence, strategic nuclear deterrence that's taking place at Offutt Air Force Base, and we have to win the game of electricity. And so we were able to pass this past year to protect Nebraska ratepayers behind the meter legislation. So as big projects come to Nebraska, they will be financed privately. We were 60 days into being governor, I met with the CEO of a company that loves doing Nebraska. They have billions of dollars invest in Nebraska, want to grow. And they said, Governor, we can't grow in Nebraska. I'm 60 days governor. I said, you can't grow in Nebraska. We're out of electricity. So the other I've heard you say, I've heard the president say 2, maybe 3 times growth of electricity in our country. I'd vote for 3 times because we have to have power. Our foreign adversaries are building gobs of it at coal at breakneck pace. We have to have extraordinary growth of electricity. And in Nebraska, when we're talking about computation, when we're talking about what we need for democracy, we're all in. We want to make sure we can do it, we can grow so that the companies come do business, that they are a part of community enhancement, helping our teachers be able to do better, help us to educate our children better, and make it a win-win. And we look forward to playing a significant role. We've led, and Nebraska's givers, and we want to attract givers.
Fantastic. Every governor at this table in front leads a state that has leaned into economic development. They've attracted massive investments, and they all have very low electricity prices that are not rising. It's not a trade-off between growth and electricity prices. In fact, they go together. They have low electricity prices because they've leaned into development and growth and negotiated sensible deals. The states with the most expensive electricity and the fastest growth in electricity are the states today that produce less electricity today than they did 5 years ago and than they did 10 years ago. Anti-development is the road to expensive development. Sensible development, is the road to expensive electricity prices. Sensible development is the road to lower electricity prices. Americans deserve them both. Jobs, opportunity, and low electricity prices. That's represented at this stage today. That's what the Trump Ratepayer Protection Pledge is all about. Thank you, everyone, for joining this event. Thank the great leaders who've brought these beautiful case studies to the fore, and there's dozens more to come. Thank you all.
Have a changing world in which we live in makes you giving and cry.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, accompanied by the Los Angeles Dodgers owner and chairman, Mark Walter, and manager Dave Roberts.
Congratulations. That was a great year and a great series. It was a hell of a series. I was rooting for you, and it wasn't looking so good. But you pulled it out. Great going. Great. Nice to be with you. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor to be here, and welcome to, this is really the new Rose Garden, how beautiful it is, with the white stone that matches the White House. This used to be grass, and it was always wet. You know, the White House is built on a wetland, and when you built on a wetland, the grass is wet all the time. If it didn't rain for 5 days, it was very wet. And we had a lot of very upset women. They'd stand in there with the high heels, and they'd just go down like quicksand. And that took place for about 150 years, and I decided to do something about it. And this has become an incredible place for dining and for news conferences and for events like this. And this is a very special event because it's the Dodgers, and they're the world champions. And Mark, this is the first time we've ever used the new Rose Garden. You see right up there, the Rose Garden. I put that up. Looks very nice. This is not, do you think Biden would do that? I don't think so. I don't think Biden would do it. And we created the Presidential Walk of Fame. That wall for 150 years had absolutely nothing on it. And it always used to amaze me. I said, what are we going to put on that wall? Now, I could put some of the great Dodgers on the wall, but I figured maybe it's more appropriate that we put the presidents. So it's been quite something. And we did from Washington to Trump, and people love it. And they study the plaques. And generally speaking, I was very nice to the people up there. A couple of them probably not as nice as I could have been. But I just want to say that we're delighted to host the 2025 World Series champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Amazing. And for the first time in the proud history of this famous franchise, you are repeat champions. I didn't know that. That's the first time, huh? Well, great ownership, great management. And so I'm thrilled to say welcome back to the White House. And maybe I'll see you again next year, I hope. But it's truly a great, when you talk about a brand, it's one of the great brands anywhere in the world, no matter where you go. The Dodgers is one of the great brands, and certainly it's been enhanced as long as these two gentlemen were up here and were with us. I want to thank Dodgers owner and my friend Chairman Mark Walter for being here. Thank you, Mark. Along with President Stan Kasten and manager Dave Roberts. That's a hell of a manager. What a manager. And I also, here we have some of their fans. They're big celebrities for the most part themselves, but they're fans. Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. And by the way, prices are going down very substantially. Thank you, Brooke. We got them down. We inherited the highest prices in history, and we're getting them down very quickly.
Thank you, Brooke. Secretary of Health and Human Services. He wasn't supposed to be here, but he's a big Dodger fan. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Thank you, Bobby. And his incredible wife. Thank you. Are you a giant? Are you a big fan of the Dodgers? I didn't know that. Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen. Mark Wayne, thank you. Look at the hat. Don't put that hat on in Oklahoma, please, Mark. They won't be too happy. Acting Director of the National Intelligence, Bill Pulte. Bill, thank you. Good job you're doing. U.S. Ambassador to the Republic of Korea, Michelle Steele. Thank you very much. Thank you. And many representatives and some of our wonderful senators and congressmen, I want to thank you all for being here. Also Vince Fong and Young Kim. Thank you very much. Thank you both very much. A lot of politicians. I'm not going to introduce the politicians. We'll be here all day. The 2025 Dodger season was one for the record books in 150 years of Major League Baseball. No player has ever earned more than one unanimous league MVP except for an international legend named Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani. That's him. He's amazing. He's amazing. Everybody loves him. Last year, Shohei did what was previously unthinkable. Nobody thought it was possible. He collected his third straight unanimous league MVP with a franchise record, 55 home runs. And if you would have told me you can be the best pitcher and the best hitter at the same time, you know, Babe Ruth was pretty close to that. They drafted Babe Ruth. He was 19 years old. I know something about baseball. Babe was 19 years old. They considered it the worst trade in the history of sports. I would say Babe will always take that. He was 19, and they got a 36-year-old third baseman and $100,000. So I would rate that pretty bad. They drafted him as a pitcher, but he did something very unusual. He led the league in home runs as a pitcher. That one you have to do. He's pretty close to doing it, I think. I think you're pretty close to doing it. But Babe did something that nobody, and so they made that trade, and that goes down as the worst trade in the history of baseball. And but the Babe was the Babe, right? You know the second worst trade in history, just out of curiosity? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the entire Los Angeles Lakers team. Okay? They traded the whole team to Milwaukee, and they won plenty of championships with Kareem. But this group started their title defense with 9 pitchers injured before the first fastball was ever thrown. They played their opening game in Tokyo and traveled more than 2,000 miles. It's more than any team has ever traveled. In fact, from the first pitch to the final out, they endured and triumphed through the longest season of any team in the history of Major League Baseball, 229 days. I didn't know that. Did you know that? That's a pretty crazy fact. I mean, it's not the kind of fact you think about. What is it going to be, a half a day longer or something? I don't know. That's a different kind of a fact, Mark, than I ever heard of, but that's what they give me to read, so what can I tell you? 220, the longest season ever. I don't know what the hell that means. In the postseason, the Dodgers exploded with 9 wins in their first 10 games. Unbeatable. In the National League Championship Series against the Brewers, the brilliant Dodgers pitching rotation of Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei, and of course, Yoshi Yamamoto combined for a record-setting ERA of just .63. In other words, if you get 1 run, you're in good shape. That's amazing pitching. And by the way, I just asked Dave, I said, how are you doing this year? You know, I've been a little busy with Iran and some other things, so if I know too much, you wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be doing a good job if I know too much. But I said, how are you doing? He said, we have the best record in baseball, right? So far, right? Yes, sir. That's good. Might see you back next year, I hope. So, not starting rotation, and think no starting rotation has ever done anything better or anything even comparable to the championship series in the history of the sport, with some great pitchers, some of the greatest pitchers ever. In Game 2 of the same series, superstar Max Muncy hit his 14th postseason home run. Where's Max? Right there. Come on, man. As a winner. They're all winners. his 14th postseason home. That's a lot of home runs in the postseason. That's, breaking the all-time Dodger record. Who's second? Who did you break there, Max? Who was second? Pretty good player, right? I'm not sure. I'll let you know later. I'll let you. He's not done yet. I'll figure it out. He's got a long way to go too. Then the decisive Game 4, Shohei pitched a 6-inning shutout, struck out 10 batters, and on the other side of the plate hit an unbelievable 3 home runs. In fact, I was watching the game, and before the announcer said it, he said, that might be the greatest game ever played. The guy pitched 6 unbelievable innings and got 3 home runs, won the game. His Herculean effort sealed the National League pennant and lifted the Dodgers to the World Series championship. Think of it. You have a man on the team who pitched perfectly and hit 3 home runs, I think in a single. And I said to myself, that's the greatest game ever played by one person, because you did the pitching and the hitting. And he's not finished yet also, right? He's not finished. He's got a lot of them left. That World Series against the Toronto Blue Jays proved to be among the most thrilling championships in the history of the sport. I watched it because I was having a little bet with the Prime Minister of Canada. I had a little bet. I was not feeling so good for a little while. It wasn't looking so good, neither were you. After splitting the first 2 games, Game 3 went to extra innings, forcing this pitching rotation to grind through some incredibly tough spots. In the top of the 12th, it went a long time. Legend Clayton Kershaw. Where's Clayton? I want to see. He's a winner. You talk about a winner. Fantastic. Look at that guy. I watched him beat a lot of our teams that were supposed to do well. They didn't do too well against him. And he's still pitching well, I bet, right?
Well, he's spending time with the family now, sir.
Well, it's called, yeah. But it is called ultimately talent, right?
Yes.
Would you say talent is the whole ball game? You could pitch right now. If they needed you, you'd be out there, right? No? And he's smart. Anyway, Clayton took the mound for his last time in Dodger blue, and with the final pitch of his epic career, and it was an epic career, he got this team out of a bases-loaded jam. That was really something. They picked the right person. The rest of the bullpen did not allow a single run, including the very last addition to the roster, reliever Will Klein. Where's Will Klein, Clayton? Where is Will Klein? Hi, Will. That big guy, too. Were you nervous? He was a little nervous. That's great. Thank you, Will. He pitched 4 scoreless innings, that's right, and sent the game to the record-tying 18th inning at almost 3 a.m. on the East Coast, and I actually stayed up. I was watching it. I was watching that game. I said, will this game ever end? It was a long one, but it was amazing, actually. I thought it was a game that you were going to lose about 4 or 5 times, and you ended up winning. Luck is okay, too, right?
Luck is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, but with talent, you get a lot of luck. In the bottom of the 18th, with a chance to end the game, who else would you want at the plate other than Freddie Freeman? I love Freddie Freeman. Where's Freddie? I was with the Atlanta Braves yesterday. I said, great going losing Freddie. It's true. I was in Atlanta. I made a speech, and your general manager and president of the team, 2 great people, by the way, and they do love you. I wouldn't say they're thrilled, but I talked about it. I said, what about Freddie? Could you have kept him? And I don't know the answer to that, but all I know is you've been just as good here as you have been. Usually it doesn't work out that way, you know. You go, and it's not quite the same. We could name a lot of players you got. I think you may be even better. Is he doing pretty well? Shohei, is he doing a pretty good job, right, Freddie? It's pretty good. Freddie's pretty good. Well, they are not happy. Let me just tell you that. They were very nice people, but they weren't thrilled at my bringing your name up. On a 3-2 count, Freddie squared off with a fastball over the middle, blasted it 406 feet to center field, raised his arms high, and walked off a World Series game for the 2nd year in a row. That was the 2nd year. That was something. Then World Series MVP Yoshi
Yamamoto, boy, did he pitch well. Pitched an incredible Game 6, sending the Dodgers to an unforgettable Game 7. Where's Yoshi? Very smart. You are something. That's great. You are something. You're both something. But it's an unforgettable. Game 7 was about to take place multiple times. This team was one play away from losing it all. And I knew that. I mean, you had like 4 incidents that you came out on the right, including the catcher. Where's the catcher?
No, he's hurt.
His foot went back on that plate. You think I'm playing games. Most of them would have tried to bluff it, but he didn't want to do that. He went back by about a quarter of a second he got there. If he didn't go back, most players wouldn't do that. A lot of reasons. You guys are we're lucky to have them here, right? But he did a great job doing that. That play was amazing. And you had many amazing plays in that game. And the last 2 and the last 3 games, down 4-3 in the top of the 9th inning, Miguel Rojas slugged his first home run in over 40 days to tie it up. I expected he was going to do that. You know why? I heard he's a winner. I heard he's a winner. Where is Miguel? Where are you?
He's a winner.
So did you expect that to happen? Absolutely. Just say you thought he was going to. That was great. That was amazing, actually. In the bottom of the same inning, he threw out a Blue Jay. Oh, that's right. You did that great throw, too. Boy, that was a hell of a. You giving him a little increase, please?
That's his department.
All right. So that was pretty good. Yeah, that was a rather good game for you, wasn't it, huh? Was he the MVP of that game? Or close? Maybe not.
No, I think it was Yamamoto.
I don't know. Yeah, that's right. You had a lot of them. But they were 2 incredible plays. Would you give it to him? Huh? Got to go with them. They got to go. Great job. But sprinting home by a fraction of a second, that was the one I guess I'm talking about with the catcher with the foot, right?
Yes.
It was unbelievable. His foot was off the plate. But instead of just sort of bluffing it like I would do in baseball, I'd bluff it, like pretending it was on. He went, and then he went back and touched the plate. And if he didn't, that was the end of that game, right? Unbelievable. Congratulate him. Then Andy Paez. I wanted to get that one right.
You got it right.
I wanted to get that one right. I had to get that right because the Y is an H. And it was easy once they told me that. I can't get you wrong. I'd be in big trouble. But Andy came off the bench for one single play in the outfield. The Blue Jays drove a deep fly ball over his head. So he turned and he sprinted over 120 feet, colliding with his teammate and making one of the most memorable catches in the history of the World Series. It was crazy, that catch. That was unbelievable. And he was put in for defensive purposes. Was that a good move? Do you think you have a good manager, maybe? You did that for defensive. Because that was a hell of a catch. And then 2 extra innings later, the Dodgers, this was truly a great World Series, right?
Maybe the best in history.
Yeah, I was watching it, and I had a reason, but I was watching it, and I thought it was incredible, actually. 2 extra innings later, the Dodgers scored the go-ahead run, and Yoshi closed out the game on 0 days rest, becoming the first pitcher in over 2 decades to win 3 games in a single World Series, and he hit real well, too. This team proudly brought home the championship for the USA, and if they managed to repeat this year, they would become the first team to win 3 in a row since the days of the legendary baseball dynasty, the 1990 New York Yankees, and I was there for a lot of those games with George Steinbrenner. He was a friend of mine. And he was a guy, he liked winning. He would do anything to win. He would do anything to win, I tell you. But you're doing the same thing. It's amazing, Mark. Once again, congratulations, everyone, on this historic trip, this great journey that you're on. And, I know so many people in baseball. I know the owners, they work so hard. They spend so much money on talent and everything else. And I see you here again, and probably again and again and again. And it's a real talent between you and Dave and the people that do all the selecting and these unbelievable athletes behind me. I have great respect, really great respect. So, Mark, if you'd say a few words, and then Dave, and I want to thank everybody for being here. This is really a special team. It's special winners. They're champions and just unbelievable, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them back again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's truly an honor for us to be back at the White House again. We are so proud of our 2025 championship team and our back-to-back titles. This is such an exceptional group of people. Oh,
I think, sorry about that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Okay. It's back-to-back titles, and we're once again here to celebrate with this great tradition of celebrating a championship with the President of the United States. Thank you very much. We're grateful to be here following another incredible season with what many believe was the greatest World Series ever played. Winning back-to-back championships is an extraordinary accomplishment, and it reflects the talent, determination, and character of everyone in the organization. Thank you for welcoming us today, Mr. President. We're proud of that team and what it has achieved, and we hope to be back here again next year.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mr. President. And I had a script, but I just want to say that we're very grateful to be here. And you said the term winners many times. And this group of men and some men that aren't here that were part of the 25 World Series championship were big parts of this. The support staff, the coaches, front office, ownership, men of character, people of character. And we did something that hasn't been done in over 30 years, going back-to-back World Series champions. And we are going for a three-peat. We're in the middle of this season right now, the grind, so thank you. The only thing I'll have to say is I hope when you watch our guys play, you can be proud and say these guys do things the right way. Their names are everywhere on social media, in the news, but when it comes to winning 11 games in October or 13 last year, these guys all come together unselfishly, and you never know what moment is going to present itself, but we have all these guys here that are ready when called upon, so we're very fortunate to have these guys, and hopefully we got more Dodger fans. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Great job, Dave. Thank you. Wow. Oh, that looks good.
We'd like to present this to you as a
Oh, wow.
honorary.
Oh, you have to be kidding, huh? Wow. Do I have to report this? I don't want to report this. That's beautiful. Thank you very much.
It's got your name on it, so
That's
it's
so
only worth
beautiful.
it to
That's
you.
right. That's really good. That's beautiful. Thank you, fellas. You know what that looks like. Thank you very much.
And?
You know what? I'll put it right
Yeah,
here.
right. All right. And a World Series jersey.
Thank you very much.
47.
Wow, thank you. And I just want to say something I don't do often, but so right behind me is the Oval Office, and as I said, this is the first time we've ever done this here in the Rose Garden, because now it's equipped to do it. And I hope you like those cushions because they are 4 inches as opposed to 1 inch. It's supposed to be 1 inch like this, like a little pad. And I said, get me the 4-inch ones. They don't make them. Now they're going to make them after they see this on television. They'll probably, they'll make a fortune with them. But they are pretty cool. But I just want to say that we're steps away from the most powerful office in the world, the Oval Office, where everything begins and ends and begins. It's all, there's nothing like it. Most important people in the world go in here. We had King Charles here 3 weeks ago. We have President Xi coming in another 3 weeks. He's going to be coming here in September. But people walk into the Oval Office, and no matter who they are, they just sort of feel sort of different. And it's a great place to negotiate because everyone's all discombobulated when they walk in, and it's a great time for me to negotiate with them. So we do that as often as possible. But I did it with the Dodgers the last time, and I'm going to do it with the Dodgers this time because we have a special, beautiful coin that everybody loves and everybody wants. And if the Dodgers would like, we're going to walk, and this time it's much closer because last time we had to walk all the way from the other side of the building. There's the ballroom and the military facility. Here's the helipad we're building. We're building a beautiful helipad after many years. Helicopters are landing on the grass, and the new helicopters didn't do well on grass. So we're putting up a beautiful helipad and have a lot of things going. We're bringing this building to a level that it was not at even when it was first built in 1792, if you can believe it. So we're doing little things. As a real estate person, I love doing it. To me, it's an honor. It's a great honor to do it. But so what we're going to do is we're going to take this unbelievable team to the Oval Office, and we're going to present them with some great things. And I just want to thank everybody very much. This is a special moment, and I think especially because it's the Dodgers and it's Dave and Mark and people that are unbelievable in their own right, unbelievable talents and leaders. Thank you very much, and a job well done. Thank you very much. So let's go. Come on.